and the omnibus. So I was forced into the Archers when I was a child. And look, it's come back to bite me later on. I'm awash with this stuff.
The Archers is the world's longest-running radio show, with more than 15,000 episodes broadcast. Despite being a rural flavour show, The Archers is recorded in the heart of...
Welcome to the Deep Dive. We are jumping straight into a really challenging, but I think incredibly intimate set of sources today.
Yeah, they really are.
They give us this sort of fly-on-the-wall view of a family navigating what is, well, arguably the most pressurized period of the year.
For sure. The days right before Christmas 2025 and all that emotional intensity, it just stretches right through to the new year.
So what we're getting from the sources is this real-time look at how one family is managing just this compounded grief during the holidays.
Exactly. They're balancing the really raw recent pain of losing their mom just this year with, the looming milestone of John's 50th birthday.
And that falls precisely on New Year's Day.
Right. So the sheer logistical and emotional weight of trying to organize celebratory things while you're carrying these heavy memories is just enormous.
So our mission here is to distill this pressure cooker atmosphere for you. We've unpacked these revealing conversations to see how strict tradition, the chaos of holiday logistics, and this profound grief all intersect.
It's a real tangle of emotions.
We want to give you, the listener, a shortcut to move past the surface details and really understand their emotional landscape, the small, specific things that hold the deepest meaning for this family.
And, what those choices tell us about remembrance itself. It's important to see that the sources, they don't start with these grand statements about grief. They start with the clutter of pre-Christmas life.
All the little domestic dramas.
Exactly. And those preparations serve a huge psychological purpose. They act as these conversational anchors when the emotional tides are just really high.
Okay, let's unpack that idea. Distraction through detail. Because the very first thing that dominates the scene is Tony's laser focus on what the sources call the Ford tractor project.
Oh, yeah.
He is meticulously preparing this tractor for the Christmas run, and the way he's doing it is, well, it's almost secretive.
It is absolute tunnel vision. We see him with a mini circular saw cutting plywood. And not just any plywood. He's cutting it into the shape of, like, a line of fir trees to go above the grill.
Right.
But the whole project is stalled. Not because of a mechanical problem, but because he can't find the battery-powered star fairy lights. He's literally tearing the Christmas box apart for these specific lights.
And he won't just go buy new ones.
No, completely resistant to that very pragmatic suggestion.
So I have to ask, is this obsession a necessary distraction, or is it more a form of displacement? I mean, he's focusing so much energy on this contained external problem. Where are these specific lights instead of the elephant in the room?
It's absolutely a coping mechanism. When you're grappling with something unmanageable like grief, your brain just craves solvable problems.
Right.
And Tony's focus on the exact placement of star fairy lights over plywood trees is, well, it's a contained crisis. It's manageable. He can control the tractor. He can't control the timeline of his grief.
That makes perfect sense. And that need for control, it shows up in other places too, like the classic Christmas dinner menu debate. A smaller, contained conflict.
Yes. Pat is passionately advocating for pork belly with bay leaves, cider, and pears. She's suggesting a break from tradition.
And that suggestion is met by Tom, who says he'd defend the traditional turkey without a fight.
Which seems minor, but it's not. Pat's push for something new, and Tom's immediate, almost defensive need to preserve the status quo. It's a reflection of that larger tension, know?
Do we stick to the past, or do we have to forge new traditions now?
Exactly.
And beneath all these lighter debates, the sources show the real simmering anxieties. Tony, fresh from his light search, is still prying about Helen and Dren.
He's very aware of how fragile that relationship is. He's trying to gauge the emotional temperature after their Scotland trip, wondering if Drain will even be there for Christmas.
It's that classic parent thing, isn't it? Trying to preempt heartbreak for your kid, but you have to do it subtly.
Yeah, without being too intrusive. And that contrasts so sharply with the situation around Chris. The sources paint a really difficult picture of him.
Chris's situation really does act as a stark counterpoint. He's seen in the bowl, clearly seeking company, noted as someone who must be desperate for company.
Right, after trying to avoid Martin Gibson the night before. And this isolation, it connects directly back to his practical problems, which just feel compounded by the season.
The flat.
The flat. So these huge concerns that he needs to give up on the flat upstairs because of all the ongoing issues. But, the sources are quick to point out that finding somewhere else is easier said than done.
So he's struggling with professional and personal instability. Isolated at the one time of year society demands maximum socializing. It just throws into sharp relief how hard this time is for anyone outside that central family unit.
Precisely. And the stress isn't just external, it's showing up inside the core family, too. I mean, you can see signs of just profound fatigue.
Like with the kids, Kira is swinging wildly between being completely uninterested and then almost clingy.
That emotional whiplash is a classic sign of a kid absorbing ambient stress. And George is struggling, too, without Amber. His dad is worried that literally nothing will make him want to celebrate.
He just can't find any joy. It really reinforces how hard it is to try and impose happiness when someone important is missing.
And then you get that wonderful, slightly chaotic detail about Hannah. When she's told, even as a joke, that Jazz won a prize for a turkey impression, she just jumps up and leaves.
Declaring it gave her an idea.
Right, and whether that idea is brilliant or just, fueled by nerves is up for debate, but it highlights how strained, yet also creatively wired, this family is right now.
All these preparations, from the dinner menu to Tony's tractor work, they all seem to be leading up to this one central act of remembrance, decorating the Christmas tree.
And the sources signaled its shift perfectly. They note they're decorating 5 days early, breaking thousands of years of Archer's tradition, as someone dryly jokes.
That breach of tradition is so significant. It shows they're prioritizing emotional need over rigid rules.
Absolutely. The Christmas tree, once it's up, it's not just a decoration anymore. It becomes this physical map of their shared past and the ornaments. They're loaded keepsakes.
Each one telling a story of John.
And their family history.
And the cornerstone of it all is John's tin angel. Made in his first year at Borchester Green metalwork class, Pat still says it's her favorite.
And what really stands out is that detail about the bent wing.
The bent wing is everything.
It's so telling. It represents not just John's imperfect childhood effort, a reminder that perfection was never the point, but it also says so much about Pat. She treasures that flawed memory over any pristine, shop-bought thing.
It's the imperfection that makes it authentic.
That's it. And that authenticity is immediately contrasted with Tom's angel, which Pat gently reminds him was rubbish, made from milk bottle tops and a toilet roll tube.
One is sentimental and technically complex for a kid. The other is funny and messy.
But both are treasured equally. And this contrast, it perfectly illustrates their different approaches to memory. You have the impressive yet flawed piece from John, symbolizing the potential they lost.
And the absurd functional piece from Tom, representing the resilience and humor that got them through.
They're both necessary parts of the story.
Introducing the Archer's Mug, where elegance meets everyday comfort. Crafted from premium white ceramic, designed with vibrant peekaboo colors inside, simple, modern, and stylish. Start your day the Archer's way, with warmth, familiarity, and the comfort of voices you've come to love. As the stories unfold on the Archers, let this mug become part of your daily ritual, a small reminder of life in Ambridge. Practical for every home, dishwasher and microwave safe. Available in 2 sizes, 11 ounces and 15 ounces, designed to fit your lifestyle. Enjoy your favorite drink in a mug that connects you to Britain's most beloved countryside story, The Archers. For more information and to order your very own The Archers mug, follow the link below and make it part of your daily routine.
They also pull out other keepsakes, the details that make it tactile. John's baby train, the baby's first Christmas thing.
Right, side by side with the snow globe or the ear of corn that someone stole from home farm and sprayed gold. Small acts of mischief immortalized in gold paint.
It suggests their history was built on fun and, minor rule breaking.
And it's that spirit of just effortless love that makes the memory of the Nutcracker so poignant. The source recalls John, even as a cool teenager, happily doing a Nutcracker dance with his little sister Helen.
Dressed in Lillian's red jacket. And Gran, with her typical honesty, gave them a painfully honest 5 out of 10.
That image is just priceless. John, the seemingly aloof teenager, dropping his guard for his sister in a borrowed, ridiculous coat. It perfectly encapsulates the playful dynamic they're all mourning.
That spontaneous, unforced joy they're struggling to recreate now.
But this momentary lightness, it quickly shifts to the main pressure point, planning John's 50th birthday on New Year's Day.
The conversations here get really heavy. They acknowledge how hard it is to plan a tribute, with this overwhelming feeling that nothing I came up with felt special enough.
And this is where we see the burden of public grief spelled out. The pressure is just immense. They talk about the awful pressure to get it right, to create some perfect public demonstration.
This is the crux of it, isn't it? The family makes this clear distinction between the 100 moments of private grief, that happen every day.
Pat sees the bent angel, or thinks of his laugh.
Right, versus the perceived need to publicly demonstrate we've remembered him on the anniversary. And that need to perform, to stage perfection, it's paralyzing their planning.
They get the irony. The formal, planned commemorations, the ones that feel obligatory, they feel less authentic than the private, silly moments of John's life.
So the pressure of designing this perfect tribute becomes this emotional weight that just defeats the whole purpose.
And that weight is compounded by the duality of their grief. They're remembering John's absence, which feels long past, and also the raw, immediate pain of Mom being gone just this year.
It's an exhausting mix.
It is, especially during the season of forced cheer.
But then there's a turning point, a moment the sources become genuinely uplifting. After talking all this through, sharing the hard stories, and having some mulled wine outside, the conversation shifts.
It does. They realize the feeling has become lighter. There's this shared realization that the tough ones make the good ones even more precious.
And that's the moment they seem to abandon the idea of striving for external perfection.
Yes. The sources show them finding healing not by commissioning some professional monument, but by embracing their messy, shared personal history.
Which leads directly to a spontaneous and, frankly, brilliant idea for John's 50th. Forget the formalities.
Forget the staged commemoration. They decide to throw a John's 50th birthday bonfire disco. The plans are just delightfully chaotic.
Instantly rooted in nostalgia and shared embarrassment.
They decide to use John's old box of tapes, which you have to assume are deliciously retro, and Pat is actively encouraged to bring out her old dance moves.
The ones that were the bane of John's teenage years.
Exactly. This is a tribute built on shared history, humor, and a willingness to be imperfect and a little ridiculous.
And once the bonfire disco is set, there's only one detail left: the birthday cake. And Tom, still thinking conventionally, suggests they ask Emma from the shop to make something lovely.
Something professional. But Pat immediately cuts in with this highly specific, deeply personal memory.
The pig cake.
The pig cake. For John's second birthday, it had a bright pink marshmallow nose, and Pat admits she was still learning how to bake. It was a literal mess of butter icing.
But he loved it.
He loved it. The mess was completely irrelevant to the joy it brought him.
And this is the narrative climax. The professional, flawless Emma cake represents the public pressure they've been fighting against.
And Pat's messy, butter iced pig cake represents the imperfect, authentic love that defined their relationship.
The consensus is immediate. Homemade and messy is perfect.
It's the new family consensus. They decide Pat has to make the pig cake again, exactly like the last time. It validates the bent angel, the early decorating, everything. It proves that embracing imperfection is the most powerful form of remembrance they can choose.
And as this conversation wraps up, we see the logistics and the emotional breakthrough just merge. They switch on the star fairy lights.
The very lights Tony was frantically searching for at the beginning.
The anchor for his coping mechanism. They're on the early, imperfect tree, and they all proclaim, "Merry Christmas 2025. The domestic problem is solved, just as the emotional one is resolved."
It's fascinating how they found their way to celebrating John by actively rejecting that modern pressure to stage a perfect event. The most potent tribute wasn't some elaborate cake or formal ceremony.
It was the memory of a messy, butter-iced pig cake.
It proves that true remembrance is built on specific, shared history, not these grand, formal gestures.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? We've seen how these simple holiday conversations reveal these profound psychological truths about navigating anniversaries. They realized they didn't need to craft a monument, they just needed to recreate the specific chaos of their own past.
Yeah, the best way to honor a memory is often to just lean into the silly, the imperfect, the uniquely personal things.
And if you connect that to the bigger picture, the timing is so crucial. John's birthday is New Year's Day.
Right, it forces the family to go directly from the reflective grief of Christmas into a period meant for renewal. By choosing a messy, joyful bonfire disco, they're deliberately integrating the past to the future.
So John's memory becomes a source of joy and energy for the year ahead, instead of being isolated in sadness. We often try to make these days perfect to honor a memory, thinking we have to impress people or meet some external standard. But based on this deep dive, we want to leave you with a thought. What are the messy, imperfect, but deeply loved traditions or artifacts in your own life that hold the most authentic meaning? What personal, messy thing, like a bent tin angel or a butter-iced pig cake, is more powerful for you than any polished public demonstration of love or remembrance?
So, what are you doing now?
Just getting ready for the next episode. Just
And,
moving mics around.
So, what do you do?
I do the spot effects on the arches. Any
Are you what we
movements
call Foley then?
kind of. Yep.
Okay. And these are all part of the paraphernalia of production.
Yep. That's the ball bar. That's
This one.
Yep. That's.
Haley so wanted to be in their own place when their baby came. It's due in 2 months. Not much chance of that now. No. I mean, it would have been a stretch for them financially, mind, but I just wish there was something practical I could do to help them, Caroline. I mean,
I think the Archers has had this immense popularity over the years, basically because it has always very accurately reflected the reality of life and living in a rural community at whatever